Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a otra plática más aquí en Descúbrete Más Summit. Estamos con el multiganador coach Jay Ladner de la Universidad del Sur de Mississippi. Jay, how you doing? It's really nice to have you.
Hector, I have been incredibly impressed, doing great, and I have been incredibly impressed with this event that y'all are putting on for the first time. Just didn't know what to expect when I flew in from the United States. Of course, you and I have had a long relationship, but just I could not be more impressed with the quality and how exciting the event actually is.
Thank you, coach. We put a lot of heart and a lot of time to it. Um, Let me ask you, Descúbrete in Spanish, it means to discover yourself and to take off. It's got like both meanings. Uh, what what does this world would mean to you?
I think everybody first of all has to. Everybody, I don't know anybody that doesn't have a passion for something, and and whether it's, as I tell my basketball players, that maybe your passion's digging ditches. I mean, it doesn't have to be something that makes you wealthy. Of course, a lot of people that are wealthy are passionate about what they do, right? But I think that just comes as a byproduct. I don't think that necessarily, uh, for most people, is what motivates them. I think they have a passion for something, and if they're doing that, they literally never seem to have a job. I know just on a personal level, and of course my wife Jennifer, she complains to me all the time and says, well, as about her particular job, because she doesn't have a passion for her job. I have a passion for my job. She goes, I wish I was like you. And I said, what do you mean? That, well, you don't really have to go, you don't really work, because it doesn't seem like work to me. And she sees that I bounce out of bed and I'm excited to go work with young men. Of course, I'm just speaking from my perspective as a coach. But to discover yourself, I think, first of all, you have to be very honest with yourself. You can't chase someone else's dreams for you. You have to chase your own dream, and your own dream is a, as Brene Brown talks about, that flame inside. You have to know what that flame is, um, and if you do that, and then you take good, thought out, measured steps to accomplish or succeed in that particular field, the sky's the limit on what you can accomplish. So to me, that's what discover yourself means. Don't chase someone else's dream. Chase your own dream, your own passion. And if you do that, then I think great things will happen and you will live a very, very fruitful, of course, rewarding life.
You've been a coach for over 30 years, chasing your dreams. You talk about in your talk yesterday about growing up, watching your dad being a coach, and how was that was your dream, and you left a pretty good job
Yeah.
to go chase a dream,
Yeah.
and now it has paid off.
Yeah.
How does it feel, that call? And you talk about what happened, but I want to know how it felt. What was the feeling about? Okay, I'm going Division 1.
Yeah. Well, to put it in a little bit of context for our audience here, what Hector is referring to is I grew up the son of a basketball coach, and of course he and my mother both from rural Mississippi. Um, Mississippi is one of the poorer states in the United States, and they both grew up in a very poor part of a poor state. Didn't have very much, although they came from good families. They just didn't necessarily have a lot. Um, my dad, of course, used basketball. Was able to get a basketball scholarship to a junior college, which is the only way he could have gone to college. And then he was in junior college. He was able to get a scholarship to a senior college, and then he became he like me. He wanted to be a basketball coach, and not necessarily at a high level, but just really enjoyed being a high school basketball coach. I loved being a high school basketball coach. After 20 years, I had the opportunity to, and I didn't have this dream to be a Division 1 coach. I just enjoyed impacting young players' lives. I think that's what coaching is. It's a lot more than winning ball games. And there are coaches out there that's all they're concerned about. And to be honest with you, I feel sorry for them. And I feel sorry for the players that play under coaches like that just simply use them for their ability, and then their relationship is done. It's more of a professional type, transactional type relationship that some coaches have. However, to move up, uh, again, that wasn't necessarily my dream. I didn't apply for a particular job, but I got a call after coaching at the high school level for 20 years, and of course, we were able to build one of the most successful programs year in, year out in the entire state of Mississippi. Had the honor to coach Hector. He's like a son to me back in those days, and especially early on in my career, very early. In fact, I feel sorry for the guys that played for me. As a side note, back then, because I was just trying to figure it out myself. I just thought you just had to work the heck out of them every day and yell and scream at them. I thought that's what coaching was. And but of course, I've evolved and learned over the years too to do things in a more efficient way. But after being at the high school level for 20 years, I was offered a position that I was called from their athletic director at Jones County Junior College, a very prestigious junior college in the state of Mississippi, and they offered me their junior college head coaching position. And in my second year there, we won the first and only junior college national championship from any of the 15 junior colleges located in the state of Mississippi. So it was and is, and a lot of people say it's something because of the size of the state, maybe never duplicated, but whichever it was, I was blessed to have a bunch of great young men, and really indebted to them to this day, as I'm indebted to Hector and his teammates. From that point, when we won the National Junior College Championship, I got a phone call from the athletic director at Southeastern Louisiana University, and literally almost the same as the call I got from junior college. I really wasn't even aware that their head coaching position was open. I was very happy where I was, and to be honest with you, Hector, I had 4 of our 5 starters back at the junior college team from the year before, so we were going to be odds-on favorite to win it again the next year. But it was just such a meteoric rise that just not even 2 years prior that I was a head high school coach.
You can say it's an overnight success built in 20 years of a career.
Well, and then all of a sudden I go from coaching at the high school level, and now I'm all of a sudden a Division I coach in less than 2 years of leaving the high school level. And I remember, and that's located in Hammond, Louisiana, which was not as Louisiana, Mississippi, are sister states. They border each other, not very far from where I'm from. And so that was a blessing there to be stuck close to my family, who's very important to me. And so I was a Division I coach, and it happened so fast. And neither one of those jobs I applied for. I was on the way over. A driver that y'all sent for me, to pick me up at the airport to come do this interview today, started, of course, asking me questions and different things, and asking really for some advice. And I said, I never. He said he enjoyed the talk, and he was referencing a number of the different points that we made here last night at your event. And he said, I asked me for some advice, and I said, well, he told me what he wanted to do. He wanted to be an engineer. And I said, well, and he said, what would you say, Coach? I said, well, first of all, make sure you have a passion for it, just like we talked about. I said, but secondly, I said, you need to make sure, you need to make sure that the job that you have right then, I've seen people do this both ways. Their goal is to maybe be in my field. Maybe they want to be an NBA head coach. Well, it's very, very difficult. There are 352 Division I jobs, so that's kind of the step below being an NBA coach. But do the best, whatever job that you have, whatever job that you've taken. I've always taken the mindset of I wanted to treat that job like that was the absolute best job in the whole United States of America. Because I think if you look at it like, well, I had to take this job just because that's the only job I could get at this point. But my goal is really to be an NBA coach. And if you spend your entire time thinking about going to another job, well, you don't do a good enough job at hand. The best public relation that anyone can do is to do a good job. The best. The best public relations that anyone can do is to do a good job. And I mentioned, and again, I've been very blessed, and maybe my situation doesn't fit everybody. I'm not trying to say it is, but I never, ever have applied for a job. I didn't apply for my first high school job. I only got that job because I had a relationship with the athletic director at St. Stanislaus High School where Hector attended. And I had begun, they had asked me in the previous summer to begin working with their team in the summer during their summer practices because I was a former college player and I had a relationship with the head coach and the athletic director. And by doing that, first of all, that was the greatest thing ever. I got a chance to coach a little bit, even though I wasn't the official head coach of that particular school. Of course, when the job did come open, they called and offered me the job. Then I went to, of course, Jones Junior College. They called and asked me to come talk to them about their job. Southeastern Louisiana coach, athletic director, Coach J.R. Teagues, called and asked me to come. And of course, USM, or University of Southern Mississippi, which is where I am now, blessed to be, asked me the same thing. And so I've never really formally, I've never formally applied for any of those jobs. And it's because I wanted to make sure that I just did the best job I could there. And on every one of those jobs, and I know I can't speak for everyone, but on every one of those jobs, I literally thought this would be my last job, meaning that I will retire doing this particular job. That's how happy I was at each one of those schools. I've never had a bad job.
That's amazing, coach. And this story of resiliency and just as I hear you speak, like I said a little while ago, this is an overnight success story that took 20 years making. You know,
Right.
and we're thank
That's
you to
a good way of phrasing it for sure. And when you think of it like that, that's exactly right. Because I was at one school for 20 years, a high school, and then
just rocket it.
within less than 2 years be a Division I head coach, and then in less than 5 years.
To put that
there,
a little bit into
yeah,
context, and I always like to do this, there are only 300 and something
300
Division I jobs in the
352.
U.S. So that's an amazing. We're so glad to have you, coach, and we expect to have you again probably next year or the year after that.
I certainly don't want to wear my welcome out, but I have thoroughly enjoyed being here. I love the people, the Latin American culture. I've mentioned in my talk last night. I'm certain there are because I see the news just like, of course, in the United States, it's the same thing. But I have never encountered anyone from your culture that aren't super people. And so I will do anytime you need me. I'm
We're glad to have you, coach.
more than welcome to be here.
Thank you for your time, coach, and we'll see each other soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.